we're working with our friends at Morrie's West End, Lincoln.
Hi folks, I'm Nathan with Two Guys in a Ride, and today I'm going to show you how to control the information in the driver's information screen and the infotainment screen on this beautiful 2021 Lincoln Aviator. So the buttons that we're going to be using are the ones that are over here on the right side of the steering wheel, and it's this little toggle switch and then this switch over here. So currently on the dashboard, of course, you see an RPM gauge, you've got a trip one in the middle, then you've got your speedometer over on the right, and then you've got your gap setting for your cruise over underneath that, as well as your fuel gauge, and then your engine temperature gauge over on the left, and then your odometer right above that. Your distance to empty is right above your fuel gauge. And then, of course, your driving mode is above the gear selector indicator. And then, of course, you have your gear selector indicator. To control the driver's information screen, what you're going to do is you're going to toggle down to this button here. So it's just a push down. And then you've got a couple of things. You've got HUD on or off. You have display setup. You have brake coach. You have oil life. Okay? If I press it this direction, this is the back button, and if I press it I'll go back down again to get to that same mode, and if I press it this way, it's the OK button. All right, so I'm going to turn the HUD on. And so HUD stands for heads-up display, and what it is, it's a digital image that's displayed on your windshield over on the driver's side. And if you've never experienced ones before, they are really, really nice. And actually, I'd go so far as to call them a safety system, just because they keep your eyes on the road. This one will display, it has like the clock, the temperature, and we'll show you a little bit of that overlay of video here, and you'll see all the things that it displays. But it's just really nice. But down here on the menu again, that's how I turned it on. I can turn it off again by clicking the OK button, and the check mark goes away. Okay. Once it's on, if I click down once, I get HUD menu. So I'm going to click OK, and I can do the brightness, the HUD position, or the HUD content. All right, I'm going to hit the back button, and now I can go to display setup. So I'm going to go over to the right and click OK. And now the first thing I have is information screens. So to show you what those are in a minute here, I'm going to press the home button. And I'm going to go down here to this little button. What you're seeing in the middle here where it says Trip 1, that's your information screens. So you can have a total of 5. So I got Trip 1, I got fuel economy, I have tire pressure, I have power distribution to the wheels for the all-wheel drive system, and then I have a calm screen. Okay, and then I'm back to where I started. So now let me go back to where I was. Okay, and I'll go over here to display setup, click on OK, go to information screens, click on OK. Here are the various things that you can have. You can have Trip 1, the calm screen, Trip 1, Trip 2, this trip, fuel economy, seat belts, tire pressure, off-road, power distribution, trailer light check, EV coach, and electric efficiency. But you can only have 5 of them at a time. So check marked are the ones that I already have. So in order to add another one, I have to click on, like I'll take one, I'll say I don't want Trip 1. So I'm going to click OK and turn that one off. And then I'm going to go over here and I am going to select seat belts. Okay, now to see what happened, I'm going to press home. And I got the calm screen. I'm going to press this button down here and kind of go through my screens again. And one of them will be seat belts. There it is. And it shows you in all of the seats who's buckled and who isn't. All right. I am going to go down to the menu again. And we're going to go to display setup again, because this is where we were. So going down to this speedometer, this is where you can change to kilometers per hour for your speedometer. If I want to go down here, I can add a tack to my view. That'll show up on the left. EV driving history. If I press OK, that just takes me, it says I can reset the default values if I want by holding the OK, the button on OK. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to click the back button. Border crossing. Now, I don't know yet which border crossing they're referring to, but it does alert you if you cross a border. So is that a state border or national borders? I don't know. But that is an interesting feature right there. All right, I'm gonna come back here. So we did turn the HUD on, we've done the HUD menu, we've looked at the display setup that changes the information in the middle of your screen. Brake coach, okay? That will help guide you as to how you brake, so you can brake in a way that regenerates the most electricity. And you can turn that off by clicking OK, or you can turn it on. And then you have oil life. And if I click on oil life, it tells me what percentage is left before an oil change, and I can press and hold the OK to reset it. So I'm going to click the back button here. Okay, and that is all of the things under settings. So I'm going to click back, and then I am back here to this screen. So now I've got my 5 screens that I can toggle through. Now I'll point out just a couple of interesting things. For instance, right now, if I toggle to the left, I'm going to get media. But you notice that nothing shows up on the driver's information screen. Where it does show up is in your HUD display. If I press phone, nothing shows up. So for media and phone, those both show up in your heads-up display. However, if you do not have your HUD display on, if I go to a phone now, you're going to notice it shows up in the RPM gauge. If I go to phone, same thing. So while your HUD is working, it puts that information up there, and while your HUD is off, it puts it in the RPM gauge for you. The other way that this will work is if you take the RPM gauge off, if you uncheck that box, then your speedometer goes to the middle, and all of this information goes over to the right. And that's the other way you can configure it. Now, in terms of the cruise control, that also shows up in the HUD display when it's on, and but it will show up in the dashboard if the HUD is off. So you always have the information. It's just, it kind of changes where it displays. Okay, that being said, that's the driver's information screen. So next, we're going to move on over to the infotainment screen. This is a 10.1-inch screen. It is a touch screen. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Alexa, AM/FM radio, HD radio, and Bluetooth. Now, it also, in this particular car, has the Revel Ultima audio system, which is 28 speakers, and it sounds fantastic. This is the home screen here. And so I've got navigation, I've got the media, and then I've got a phone. If I had one connected, that would show up there. So basically, you've got a series of shortcuts that are right here at the bottom, and you can also click on any one of these individual screens, these buttons here, and it will go full screen. So for example, navigation, there you go, full screen. Okay. If I go back here to SiriusXM, same thing, full screen. So you can click on any one of those. You also have a power flow button here. So if I click that, you're going to see where the power is flowing, you know, from the engine and the battery. If I go back here and I click charge settings, it's like a shortcut because this is a plug-in hybrid. You can actually change some of your preferences. So you can do a charge time setup. You add a new location. You can do a departure time setup. And not only can you do that, but you can actually like program your climate of your car and everything else. So that whatever, and then you can copy it to each day of the week. So your car's automatically running, already warmed up and ready for you to go. Now, if you ever have a question about what something does, if there's a circle with an eye, you can click on that and it will tell you what it does. And I always like that when manufacturers put that in there. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my home screen in a minute, and we've covered kind of all these buttons here, but down here we've got the shortcuts. So I'm gonna start with the easy ones here. Okay, audio. Okay, right now we're on SiriusXM. So if I click sources, okay, I got AM and FM, I got Bluetooth stereo, SiriusXM, and then I would also have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or USB device show up right there. I can direct tune, so I can go here and actually type in a number of a station that I know. And then over here, I can look at channels, okay, and I can actually look at different genres. And then if I go back over here, these are my presets. So presets in newer cars tend to combine every preset you make. So it's your AM presets, your FM presets. It's also your Sirius XM presets, and they're just all mixed together. So how do you make a preset? Well, I'm going to choose an AM one, and I'm just going to click and hold, and there it's done. Now I just put that in memory, and you can see that there's 2 buttons down here. If I go this way, then I can see the rest of my presets. Okay, down here I got my phone button. So here is where I would add a phone. I could connect to a phone. There's one already programmed or multiple ones programmed. And then this is where I get like my phone calls, my text messages, or if I look at call history, all that would show up under this button. I've also got a navigation shortcut. So if I click on that, automatically takes me into navigation. The point of these is that they stay here no matter what else is on the screen, with rare exception. And so you can always access them. See, now navigation, they disappeared for a minute. But the minute I tap the screen, they pop up again. Okay, so let's go to settings for a minute. Now, under settings, there's lots of things you can control here. For instance, sound. This is where you can change, the bass and the treble and the fade and all that kind of stuff. This does have speed compensated volume, so the faster you drive, the louder the music gets. And then the slower you drive, the softer the music gets. The whole idea is that the music seems to stay at the same volume to your ears. I'm going to hit the back button up here. Okay, Bluetooth, if you want to connect, that's where that's going to be. Your Sirius XM button is right there. Also, I guess I better leave it here. You've got the phone, clock. So some of these are redundant, but the clock one isn't. That's where you can go here and reset your time. Or if you want to automatically update as you go through time zones. And you can also reset the clock to GPS time. Okay, driver assistance. Now, there's a lot of safety systems on this car. And this is where you're going to find a whole bunch of these. So, adaptive cruise control. You actually have a couple of choices. You can have it normal, which means it's not adaptive. I mean, it's just like a standard cruise control from the 1980s. If you make it adaptive, well, then it's going to read the car in front of you and keep you a set distance between you and that car. If you turn it to intelligent, it's now going to read speed limit signs, and when it senses the speed limit change and sees that sign, it's automatically going to adjust your cruise control for you. Now, because they put that in, they also built in this little button, which is called the tolerance button. So if I put in here, you can say, well, I want to be within, like, no more than 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Or I always want to be 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. And it will adjust for you. Okay, but that's what the tolerance is. So it's not, if you don't like strictly driving the speed limit, then it gives you a little bit of variance. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here, lane keeping system. Okay, and lane keeping mode, I can have just the alert, I can have the aid, so steering, and I can have alert and aid. And these are the graphics that show up on the HUD display and in the driver's information screen when HUD is off. That help show you. Of course, the car is not in there. It's just these lines, but that's very nice. Alert intensity. Hey, you want it high, normal, or low? You can just click and choose. Okay, we'll go back twice. Pre-collision assist. Hey, distance indication. You can have that on or off. Active braking on, evasive steering on, and alert sensitivity. Okay, high, normal, or low. Now again, you have this eye, so anytime you see this, if you want to click on it, it'll tell you, give you a description of what it does. All right, so I'm not going to go through every single one of these because they all work the same way. If you have a button like this, it's an on-off situation. You just click, it's on, click, it's off. So like, for instance, reverse brake assist. I just click it once, and it goes off. If I click it again, it goes on. But this is where a lot of your safety systems are, right under driver assistance. Moving up to vehicle, here's another spot you can adjust some of the things for your car. Like you can have a 30-minute max idle, on or off. Rear occupant alert, you can turn that feature on or off. easy entry and exit. So that's when the seat goes all the way back, steering wheel goes up all the way in, makes it easier for you to get in and out. But yet, once you're in, readjusts everything for you. And you can tell it to adjust the seat, you can adjust the cargo loading, or an easy access height. You can have those on or off. Okay, and then let's see, we'll go down here a little bit. You can set up your, where is it right here? Your, oops, I went back too far. Your power or your remote start setup. And so when you remote start it, first of all, you have to activate it here. Then you can go and say, what do you want to do with climate control? Well, you can either have it last settings, whatever you had the car on last, when you shut it off, or auto. So if the car senses it's cold, it's going to turn on your heat. It's going to turn on your heated seats. It's going to turn on your heated steering wheel. It's going to do all that for you. Okay, and then of course, on seats and steering wheel, you can adjust, it'll adjust the position of the seat and the steering wheel as well. And then how long do you want it to run for? 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or 5 minutes? And after that time, it shuts the car off again. Let's go back twice. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff in here, but again, they all work the same way. Click on the eye to figure out what it does. And then if you actually want to adjust it, click on it. And then in a minute, you'll get all the stuff that will come up, and basically it's either on or off little toggles right here. All right, let's go back, and I'm gonna come over here to general. Okay, this is where you can change language, temperature units, measurement units, tire pressure units, touch button beep. If you don't like that beep, turn it off. Automatic system update. So this car will automatically update, but you can choose to have that off or on, and then you can view the current software right there. Let's see. You can reset everything. If something goes wrong, he's like, well, I'm just going to start from scratch. That's the reset button for that. Okay, let's go over to display for a minute here. On display, if you click on here, you can turn the whole display off, which is sometimes nice for night driving, or you just touch it to come back on, or you can put on the calm screen. Now, the calm screen is just a calm screen. All it does is show you the date, the day, and the time. Simply touch the screen to bring back the main home screen. Okay, and I'm going to go back here. Now, a couple of the really neat things on here. You do have one for charge settings, and we've seen this screen before because there's a shortcut right on the home screen for it, and then you can go in there and change that. The other really neat thing on here is your ambient lighting, which you have multiple colors here, and that's simply a click and drag. Now, if you want to switch colors, tap on it first and then adjust it. That's how you would adjust that. Let me hit the back button again. And then if I come down here to seats, now these are 30-way adjustable seats, and this is where some of those 30 ways come in. You can select driver or passenger, and then I can adjust, okay? This is lumbar right now. So this is the lumbar I'm adjusting. I love it, they show you the picture. I'm gonna adjust the lower lumbar. Now I'm gonna adjust the even lower lumbar. It keeps going lower. Okay, here's the side bolsters. Oh, boy, and you can sure feel them moving. Okay, and then your legs supports here on the side. And of course, you just click passenger to do the passenger seat. Now, the other thing it does, it will massage. So, this is a full massage. It gives you a graphic of what it's doing. And you can have the intensity low, medium, or high. And then you can say, well, I want just the lower region worked. Or I want the just upper rolling. Or circular cushion. Or back to full again. So, these are some of the ways that we get 30-way power out of the two front seats. And it feels really good, I'll tell you what. You do have Wi-Fi right here that you can click on, and you can set that up right here. And then if I go back one, okay, you do have a 911 assist, and this is something that Ford and Lincoln have had for a long time. But basically, if you have an accident, if it's turned on and you have an accident, it will call 911 for you. Now, the other thing that this vehicle has is, of course, a very nice 360 camera system. So first of all, I'm just going to put it in reverse. And of course, the infotainment screen is where you see it. And you've got, of course, your static guidelines. But then if you turn the wheel, you can see the dynamic guidelines move while the static ones stay in place. You also see something I haven't seen before, and that is these dashed yellow lines on the side, kind of giving you a safe parameter. And I'm going to guess if I pulled it into a commercial parking stall, these would line up exactly with the white lines on that parking stall. Not positive about that, but I think they would. Now, you do have a few things up here on the screen itself. You can turn your parking sensors off, which I don't know why you'd ever do, but you can. And then with the parking sensors on, if someone steps into here or there's an object, you'll see exactly where that is. Okay, over here you also have a little menu button. And right now we're in the 360, but I can go just to a rear and have it full screen, which is nice. Or I can go just to the back and have it full screen. I happen to like this view probably the best, but there are occasions when maybe you want that to be full screen. Now I also have a plus button, and if I do that, then it comes right down to like a hitch view. This is a hitch guidance line, so if you're backing up to a trailer and this does have the tow package on it, you can do that. All right, now the other way, I'm going to go back into park here for a minute. One of the nice features, I think, is they put a physical camera button on the dashboard. So if I click that, it brings up the camera immediately, which is, you don't need it for backing up because the camera comes on automatically, but when you're parking forwards into a stall, that's when you want to use that button. All right, so when you push the camera button, you're in forward and you press this menu button, you get a really wide angle full screen view, and you can see the lines. It's kind of divided into 3 sections, or you can get a little narrower view right here. So either one. And then if I want to go back to the regular screen, well, I just press my camera button again and I'm back to this. Now, I guess the other thing I should show you, and the button is not on the screen, but it's on the climate control. So if I push that, you do have a few extra features on the front climate control. The other button you can push right under the menu button for the climate control is rear, and this turns on controls for the rear climate system. This is your dual button or your link button. So right now, if I turn the fan up, it goes to both the second and third row. Same with temperature. Okay, if I unlink it, I can select just change the temperature for just the second row or just the third row. And I like it that they give you the graphic there that shows the actual seats that you're adjusting. That's really cool. You also have an auto temp feature, and then of course 2 different modes to select from. But that is where the rear climate is controlled from the front. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.